here's the Gemara. To recognize that we are the ones who are, this week's parsha is Parshas Vayera, and the rabbis say that a person needs to say, when are my actions going to reach the actions of my forefathers? That means when we learn the Parshiyot, these are role models for us to learn from. Look at Avram's as Orchim, the way he guessed, how he went out of his way, and all that. Oh, so many things that we need to learn from. That's what the Parashiyot are teaching us. Just to take out our glasses, look at the amazing. Avram's on the move. He's running. He's 99. He's running. Everybody, his wife's involved. Everybody's involved in the Chesed. It's not a one-man show. These are some of the lessons that we need to learn, and we also need to learn. We have other people here today that also we have to learn from their actions and to say, okay, he did it. We also have to do things. We also have to be leaders, and that's therefore we're encouraging Mr. Haber that every Friday morning, if I could put him on the spot, I think that Friday morning, if he's up to it, that he'll share something. Maybe we'll come a few minutes early. If we'll come a few minutes early, maybe he'll share something of leadership, of inspiration. That
6:30.
Okay, so we'll confirm during the week the time for everybody, and we'll have a vote, and then okay. Good morning, everybody. Okay, and by the way, and that also has another advantage. You come home, you can share it with your family what you heard the story you heard today about the building of the first mikveh in Deal, the first mikveh in Brooklyn, and hopefully you'll hear about other things in the community as well. Okay, we are on Hesvav Amar Aleph. We are on 15a. We'll just go back to the bottom of 14b. 14b on the bottom. Maybe that's where Amar Rabba Bar Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Yesterday we spoke it out. Yesterday we spoke about. First, I want to welcome everybody. Okay, everyone have it in the art scroll. It's 14b5 on the right side. Amar Rabba Bar Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Bar Chana says in the name of Yochanan, Kol lo saseh shekodmu aseh. Any lo saseh, anytime the Torah says don't do something, but it was preceded with an aseh, what you need to do. The Torah tells you first, I want you to do something. And then the Torah follows, I don't want you to do something else. And the thing that the Torah tells you I want you to do would be a fix of the thing the Torah says I don't want you to do. Let's explain that. We said yesterday, the Torah says, don't steal. And the Torah says, if you steal, I want you to return. So the returning of the item is a positive commandment. You have to return it. The don't steal is a lo saseh. The Torah says don't do. The rule is, if the Torah tells you don't do something and follows with what I want you to do, if you violated the violation, that becomes the fix, and there's nothing else you need to do. You don't need to give the guy lashes if he stole. Why? Because the Torah did not give the punishment of lashes for stealing. What's the punishment of lashes? Returning item. What's the punishment for stealing? The punishment for stealing is to return it. Torah says don't leave over the carbon to the morning. Torah says if you leave it over to the morning, burn it. So what if you left over to the morning, you're not going to get lashes. Why? Because what is the punishment? The Torah gave you some other punishment. The tikkun for leaving over to the morning, Torah says I want you to burn it. Torah tells you what you need to do to fix your violation. If the Torah did not tell you what to do to fix a violation, then it's the standard fix. The standard fix, by violating the lo saseh, Torah says don't do it. The standard fix is lashes. If a person, let's say, Torah says don't eat not kosher. What's the fix if you eat not kosher? You get lashes. The Torah didn't tell you what to do, anything else you need to do if you didn't follow the rules. But sometimes in life, when I give you a rule, if you don't follow the rule, I tell you what you need to do. Nathan, is that clear? That's called, so there's a law that if the Torah tells us to fix, Adam, right? Is that, Adam, I got your name right or not? The Torah tells you don't do something, and the Torah tells you what the fix is. That's coming to negate lashes. The lashes are not the fix. There's something else is the fix. But no, I'm saying the positive command when the Torah says to, let's say, to return it. That's a positive commandment, and that would remove. Yes, the burn. If you left it overnight, you got to burn it. That's the positive commandment. But there's a commandment: don't leave it over to the morning. Then there's a commandment: if you left it over to the morning, what do you got to do? You got to burn it. That's a positive commandment. You need to burn it if you were in violation, and therefore that is the fix. There's no other fix. There's no lashes for such a situation. Has everybody got that clear? That's step one. If now exactly. What sometimes the Torah has the negative, don't do. The Torah tells you, but if you didn't follow what you need to do in life, this is what you need to do. So if it has a fix, that becomes the fix, and lashes is not the fix. Nathan, is that clear? Even if you don't do the fix yet, as long as you have potential to do the fix, we're going to see if you lost the potential to do the fix, then the lashes would kick in, because then you don't have that fix. That fix is not there. We're going to see more about how a person will lose that potential of the fix. Now, what about if the fix is not the fix could be applied even without the violation? What does that mean? Sometimes you have the fix without doing the sin. We're going to give the example. The Gemara is going to give an example the following. We gave yesterday, the Gemara is going to give the example. The Torah says you can't contaminate the camp. You can't contaminate the camp. You can't come into the camp, the Jewish camp, to the place of the Beis HaMikdash when you're a certain level of contamination. You can't come into the Mikdash. If a guy finds himself becomes tamei, contaminated while he's in the Mikdash, at that moment, he's not yet violated anything. As long as he doesn't stay there for a certain amount of time, there's no violation. He didn't do any violation, but he has a mitzvah to get out of the camp. Let's say the Jewish camp, we're Jewish, where the Beis HaMikdash is, the courtyard, the temple. He has to get out of the temple if the person's contaminated. So he has a positive commandment to leave the temple, even though he didn't violate anything yet. There's no violation. He hasn't. But then what happens if he remains and he stays in the temple while he is contaminated? So he did a violation by staying in there. The Torah says, I want you out. Torah says, I don't want you to contaminate this place. And then, but what happens if he went out and he violated that? And he contaminated the place by being there? The Torah says what you got to do, you have to get out. So you could have the getting out. The getting out comes before you contaminated the camp. It applies before the violation, and it applies after the violation. That's a good question. But I didn't see what the time limit is, but it's a certain time. So when a positive commandment is given, and it serves both independent of the violation and post the violation, do we say that positive commandment, since it does serve after you violated the sin, would that also be a fix of the sin because it has an effect after the sin was violated? Or do we say that since this positive commandment comes even if the violation wasn't done, therefore it's not just coming for as a fix, and therefore it will not remove the lashes, and therefore he will still be subject to lashes. And we're gonna. Is that clear? It might be a little bit difficult for everyone to understand the skin. Let me repeat this thing. We said when the Torah says don't do A, and you didn't listen, okay? So usually the punishment is lashes, right? Because you did an action against what Hashem says, I don't want you to do it. Don't eat not kosher. But what about the Torah says don't do A, and if you do A, this B, I want you to do B. If you violate, you didn't listen to A, I want you to do B. So B is the fix for A. And if you don't do this, and if you do it, I want you to do B. So then Torah is saying B is the fix. Is that clear or not? Meaning that's what I want you to do. I don't want lashes. I want B. If you violated A, I want B. But what about if B would apply both after the violation of A, and B, the mitzvah that Torah says B comes even if I did not violate A. B, Torah gives us a certain mitzvah that has nothing to do, it can apply without violating anything. That means right, B could be without any violation, nothing, I didn't do any sin. The Torah tells me, I'm giving you a mitzvah, Rabbi. Here's the mitzvah I want you to do. I didn't do any sin. It's not coming. It comes as a case that B is not a fix. It's not coming as a result of I violated A, I have to do B. Right. If the Torah would say, you eat not kosher, go to the mikveh. That's a great case. Let's use, if the Torah would have said that, then going to the mikveh would be used both as a fix for eating not kosher, and going to the mikveh would be a mitzvah. I want you to go to mikveh. Torah says, I want you to go to, let's say it would apply also that mitzvah of going to the mikveh without eating not kosher. You could go, let's say there will be a mitzvah, go to the mikveh, whether you eat not kosher, whether you don't eat not kosher. If you eat not kosher, you got to go to mikveh. And if you don't eat not kosher, you also have a mitzvah to go to mikveh. So now, is going to the mikveh is used both as a fix for the violation of eating not kosher, and both used independent of eating not kosher. So now, is going to the mikveh considered the fix? It's going to the mikveh. When the Torah gave the mitzvah of going to the mikveh, it gave it independent of the violation. So therefore, it's not, maybe we don't look at it as a fix of eating not kosher. Even though I have to do that, but the purpose of the mitzvah was not only given as a fix, it's given independent of violating anything. And if it's given independent, so then maybe it wouldn't have the power to remove the violation in this aspect of getting off from lashes. To remove the violation from lashes is when it's solely given as a fix. That's the matter. That is the question here in the Gemara.
I would say one stone kills two birds, and it is a positive meaning, and it is a negative meaning.
Right. So we saw from Rashi. Rashi says that you hear what he said. This was that is one opinion in the Gemara, but the other opinion of the Gemara is that that's not what Hashem gave that mitzvah. Is not for the purpose of removing the lashes. That the purpose of that mitzvah is, yes, you have to do that fix, but that's not the purpose. It's not coming to remove lashes. To remove lashes would be if this is only serves as a fix, that will remove lashes. The fact that it does things, it's not coming specifically to remove the lashes, and therefore it's a fix, but it's not a fix to remove the lashes. Or it's not, so we won't call it a fix. It's something that you need to do, but it's not working in the sense that a general fix works. That is the question in the Gemara. So now let's read it inside. Now on 14b on the bottom. Amar Rabba Bachana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Kol lo saseh shekadmo aseh. Any lo saseh that was preceded by an assay, that means the Torah says don't do something, but the Torah tells you what you need to do. The mitzvah that would precede the violation, that could stand, that would be a mitzvah to do, even if he did not do any violation, but it also applies after the violation, loken alav. So he says there is lashes. There are lashes for such a thing because we don't consider this positive commandment to be a true fix of the Torah for the sin. Rather, the true fix will be the regular fix of lashes for such a sin that commandment that you need to do to fix it also applies independent of the violation. Is that clear? Even though you fix it, but that's not, don't leave it open, right. Right, but that fix only is possible if you did the violation. You cannot, there's no mitzvah to burn the carbon that was left overnight unless you actually did the violation. You had to violate it to do that mitzvah. So therefore, that is clearly only serving as a fix. It doesn't serve in any other fashion. Similarly, the case is don't steal. The violation is don't steal. The fix is return what you stole. That mitzvah of returning what you stole only applied after the violation. You have to do the violation. There's no mitzvah to return what you stole if you didn't violate it, you didn't steal anything. You can't say it's a mitzvah to return if you didn't steal. So that the mitzvah assay of returning what you stole is only coming as a fix of the violation. Therefore, there's no lashes, but that is what Torah wants you to do if you do that sin. But if the mitzvah that needs to be done following the violation could be a mitzvah without even doing the violation, therefore the Torah is not giving this mitzvah as a specifically for a purpose of a fix, because it doesn't only apply only if you did a sin. It stands even without the sin. Is that clear? So that's what the Gemara, that's the opinion of at this point of the Gemara. Now, the name Rabbi Yochanan. But the halacha is not going to be like that. The halacha is going to be like that Levid like. That we're going to double dip on this. We're going to say it serves both. It's a mitzvah before the sin, but since it serves as what the Torah wants you to do after you did the violation, so the fact that it served earlier without violating anything, will still, since it does serve as what you need to do after you did the violation, that's all you need to do. You don't need to give the guy lash. So if the guy, so therefore, say it again. Okay, very good. So let's see the Gemara. Now, but our Gemara is going to develop this story. Amrulo. Now we're on Tezvav Manal, 15a. Mabruk, Mazel Tov, everybody. 150, a new dot, right, Yaron? Amrulo. They said to Rabbi Yochanan, people that heard this report, this was a report by Rabbi Bachana in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. They said to him, Amrat, did you say such a thing? Did you actually say this law that since the positive commandment preceded the violation, therefore he is subject to lashes? Amar lahu lo. I changed my mind. I say he will not get lashes, even though. So, with Rashi, if you look at Rashi, Amar lehem lo. What does Rashi say? Second line from the top. Chazabo. He changed his mind. Now, it could be, it seems that people might have misunderstood what he meant. By the fact that he said, lo, I didn't say it, people thought that he meant that he never said it. But really, the way I would understand, he's saying, lo, I didn't, no, it's not true. I changed my mind. But they thought that he means I never said it. Amar Rabba says, Elokim. It's like a language of oath, which we don't recommend anybody today to say languages of oath. Don't swear. So anybody, if you ever hear anybody swear, tell them, please don't swear, because you don't want people to swear. But he said, Elokim. Amra, you said it. The rabbi said it. He said the rabbi said it. And he says, Uksiva v'tanina. We find the case in the Torah, the case of a mitzvah, a positive commandment that serves both with independent of the violation and following a violation. Tiva, we have the case. V'tanina, and we learned the law regarding this case, and we learned the law, now the Gemara is going to say what was the case, and what is the law that we learned that he will get he will get malkut for such a thing. Yes. Then Amora. She's not a Tana. So if we learned in the Braita, that Braita would be, or not only that, we learned in the Mishnah. It's our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is going to be used as a question on Rabbi Yochanan, because our Mishnah says that there is lashes in a case that's a case of this case that of a mitzvah. We're going to say the case in a moment. A mitzvah, a positive commandment that preceded the violation and follows the violation, and the Mishnah listed as the people that get lashes. So we see that a person gets lashes even though the positive commandment preceded and followed. And that's why Rabbah is saying it is correct that he's supposed to get lashes. Ariel, you with me? Yes, it's right that he's supposed to get lashes for this violation, because the Torah, because the positive commandment is not considered the fix. You need to get lashes. Now what is his support? Where did he find, what is this case of the Torah that's mentioned in our Mishnah that will get lashes for this positive commandment that precedes the violation and follows the violation? Everybody with me? Is it clear? Okay. What's the case? Yishalchu, the pasuk says, Yishalchu min hamachaneh. The Torah says you should send out from the camp, temple area, and sometimes even from Yerushalayim. If the person has leprosy, he has to be out of the whole city of Jerusalem. But some places, it depends where you are, what type of contamination the person have. Based on his level of contamination, is which area that he's able to be. So you have to send out. Good morning, Jake. Good morning to your son as well. You have to send out from the camp. You have to send out all these people that are contaminated. And then the Torah says, "V'lo yitamu es machanehem," and you should not contaminate your camps. Okay? So we have an asay and we have a los asay. What's the asay? The positive commandment is send out from your camp. One of the 613 mitzvot is sending out from your camp anybody that is contaminated. And then the Torah says, I don't want you to contaminate the camp, and don't contaminate the camp. So, okay, so now the violation will be, if you stay in the camp, after you discover your contamination, if you remain in the camp, you are violating the violation of making contamination. Because the Torah says don't contaminate the camp, and by remaining in the camp, you are contaminating the camp. Okay? Now, what is the fix if a person violated the sin and he contaminated the camp? He stayed in the camp too long. When he became contaminated, he stayed there. So he violated it. So now, do we say that the fix is get out of the camp? He has to now leave the camp. But there is a mitzvah. He has an obligation to leave the camp. The person who remained in the camp longer than he was supposed to after he realizes contamination, he has a mitzvah, just like the Kohen. If a Kohen goes to a cemetery, Mr. Safdie, Kohen goes to a cemetery. Does he have now he's contaminated. He has a mitzvah to get out of the cemetery, not to remain in the cemetery, right? So the same thing as this guy who contaminated, who came into this place or remained in the status of contamination, you stayed there, he now contaminated this place. Okay, so now he has a mitzvah, so he violated. He was in violation. What's the violation? That he stayed there and contaminated the place. Now he has a mitzvah to get out of the place. Now he has a mitzvah, positive commandment, leave. You got to get out. Very good. And now, this mitzvah to get out serves in two situations. One, before the fact, before the violation, and it also serves after the violation. When he becomes contaminated, he did not yet violate. We don't consider that contaminating the camp when he discovers his violation, his contamination. He has to get out of the camp. So that mitzvah comes independent, not only as a fix for remaining there, it comes before he even stayed there. It comes right away. There's a mitzvah to get out of the camp. So being that mitzvah comes, but we say but the violation of contaminating the camp, the lo saseh was not yet reached yet. To reach to be considered that you violated the contamination of the camp, you have to be there for a certain amount of time. From the time you discovered your contamination, then only if you're there for a certain amount of time and you want to stay there, then you are in violation of the prohibition. That's a good question, Mr. Batesh. Jake and I saw someone quote a certain there's a certain amount of time. They didn't quote exactly how much that time is, something that needs to be looked at. But therefore there was no violation yet. There's a mitzvah for you to get out before you violated so therefore the mitzvah the positive commandment serves not only after the fact that you violated, it also serves before violation. Why? Because you got to get out of the camp. You got to get out of, therefore you got to get out of the camp. The second you know that you're contaminated, not violated, out of the camp. That's the mitzvah. The mitzvah comes right now. Out of the camp, guys. That's the violation. That's the violation. Right. The first applies both before the violation, morning, Mr. Feldman, and after the violation. No, right. We're talking about the guy let's say he becomes contaminated while he's in. He has some sort of discharge, let's say, or that would make him contaminated. Or let's say he came in contact with a dead body inside the temple area. You know, someone passed away and he became contaminated. He has to go out of the camp. The guy was. Okay, yeah, but it's all about what we have the rule, just to bring everybody up to date, Mr. Feldman up to date. If the Torah tells us don't do something, and Torah tells us if you violate it, I tell you what the fix is. There's no lashes on such a violation. But the fix is what the Torah says I want you to do if you violate. Don't steal. If you steal, I want you to return it. So there's no lashes for stealing. Because the Torah says what I want you to do is to return it. That's what I want you to do. If you're not able to go ahead, if the fix, it was probably if the fix is not, if you're not capable of fixing the fix, of doing that fix, then maybe there's another, then maybe lashes would kick in. But if the Torah tells you to do something, and that mitzvah, that positive commandment, doesn't only serve as a fix to the violation, it serves independent of the violation. that's the question. Would there be lashes on such a mitzvah, such a situation when the positive commandment that's given, it stands independent of the violation? That's the question. So the Gemara wants to say, I have a case. I found a case that there is a violation, which is called the lo saseh. The lo saseh that we're referring to here, there's a violation, and there is a fix. And yet, if the fix, since the fix applies even before the violation, without the violation, it means that therefore there would be lashes on such situation, because that positive commandment of the fix was not just given for a fix, because it's given independent of the fix. The application applies, and that's the case. What's the case the Gemara wants to say? The Gemara wants to say, if someone becomes contaminated when he's in the camp, when he's in the temple area, he has a mitzvah to get out. The Torah says out, leave. There's a mitzvah, there's a positive commandment. That positive commandment preceded any violation. So therefore, it's not just given. The positive commandment to leave the camp if you're contaminated, it's not just the Torah telling this is what I want you to do if you did a violation. It's the Torah tells you even if you did no violation was violated, I'm giving you this mitzvah of leaving the camp. So now that even though it's true, if you remained in the camp and you contaminated the camp, now you did a violation, it's true you have the mitzvah to still leave the camp because you shouldn't remain in the camp in the state of contamination. But when the Torah gave you this mitzvah of leaving the camp, it wasn't just giving to you that to say, I want to tell you, this is, if you do this violation, this is the fix. This mitzvah of leaving the camp is independent of any violation. So since it comes on its own without violating anything, so if you did the violation, you should be subject to lashes, because this mitzvah of leaving was not the fix. It wasn't given as a fix. If it's given as a fix, then that's the fix and there's no need for lashes. Mr. Feldman, is it clear what we're saying over here? Morning, Rabbi Mansour. When he did a sin, or he violated the law, and when he didn't. But the fact that, right, so the point is the fact that the Torah's mitzvah came before you did any violation, before you did any sin, so that mitzvah is not coming as a fix. So therefore, even if he made a violation and now he has to leave, but he still will be subject to lashes. Yes, baby. No, leave it because the Torah does not want you to remain in a camp when you're contaminated. That's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah. It's a commandment. It's a commandment of the Torah. If you are contaminated and you're by the temple, you're by the Beit HaMikdash, out. You have to leave. It's both a negative. It's also lo saseh. Don't make yourself tameh. Don't remain in a camp. The lo saseh is don't go into the camp if you're contaminated, and don't remain in the camp if you exactly. And then so there's two mitzvot here. There's a mitzvah, don't contaminate the camp. But there's another mitzvah there's another mitzvah to leave the camp if you become contaminated. There's another mitzvah, vishachu. It says vishachu. Send them out. Send them out. Send them out of the camp. That's a mitzvah, I say. Okay, we should all merit to have the Beit HaMikdash back, and we'll have to be concerned about, and also be careful not to go to the Temple Mount today. We're holy, and the place is holy. The place is holy, and we're tameh, so we can't go there today. Have a great day.
Beautiful, right? Amen.
Okay. Man. Beautiful Shabbat, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Why is it a mission? It is a mission not to kill somebody. Low, it's not given in a positive commandment, it's given as a low session. Don't kill.
Right. So I wanted to kill him, but I didn't. Oh, it's a mitzvah that I didn't kill.
Right, you had an opportunity to kill, someone has an opportunity to kill somebody. And it doesn't, it came in a couple times that, for example, they're not going to arrest us. They have an opportunity to go into it. Hey, if I'm right here, I can't find out McDonald's, I don't walk in, I gotta miss it. But why am I not? Right, if you go.
Now I know all these mitzvahs I've been getting, without even knowing.
But you follow somebody, you had an opportunity to go into that shop and you're going. Like every Shabbat, you have an opportunity to finish Shabbat, and I go to work and Shabbat, I gotta miss every Shabbat, so. But welcome back.
May do that.
To violate, right.
So then there's definitely, of course.
That's the question. If there's Malkut, but since the Torah gave us a way out, if to leave, as there's a mitzvah to leave, both before I contaminate, before I stay there for a long period of time, or after I contaminated the camp. So is that considered the fix and I don't get lashes? So one opinion is saying it's not. One opinion is saying it's not the fix because since it comes independent of the violation, so it's not coming just as a fix. Even though it's what I need to do. Not every fix, meaning not everything that I need to do after I violated means that will remove the lashes. It might not remove the lashes. It is a fix, but it might not remove the lashes. That's the point. That good? Thank you, Mr. Patel.
Rabbi, beautiful Chidush, you say each mitzvah we do, it's part of like the Mashiach, that because you bring Machat to the world.
Oh, very good.
There is more of them. No, like a cameraman.
כתוב בירושלים כל ימי חייך. מה פירוש רב כתוב בירושלים? בגלל שירושלים אסור לשכון באחד שיש לו חטא. לא יכול לשכון שם. נשוא עוון. אז לכן, אחד שיושן שם, אז כביכול הוא נענש. אז כיוון שהוא נענש, אז רואים, כל האנשים רואים שיש בעיות הרבה בירושלים. למה זה? בגלל שצדק ילין בה. זאת אומרת, מי יכול להיות בירושלים? רק אדם שיש לו צדקות. אז עכשיו, כשאני רואה שהמקום הוא מקום בעייתי, אז אני אומר, המקום הוא לא טוב. אז זה דוד המלך אומר, וראה בטוב ירושלים כל ימי חייך. אל תסתכל על אלה שנידונים בירושלים, שהם נידונים בגלל החטא שלהם, אלא אתה צריך להסתכל על הטוב של ירושלים.
Don't look at the wow.
Okay, so thank you very much, Rabbi.